Welcome to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called Do Your Job. I work in online fulfillment at a large home, garden and building supply store. My job title comes into play later. Technically, we aren't supposed to work with customers directly. Just point them in the right direction or find another associate who works in that department. I had a massive order to grab, several heavy and large pieces of sheet metal and screws. Problem is, the sheet metal size I need isn't where it's meant to be, so I'm having to scan pretty much everything to figure out what's what. Bigger problem? This lingering in the wild sadly put me in the range of a wild Karen attack. The wild Karen with her raging harpy voice. Are you gonna help me or not? I was suddenly very confused looking at her, especially as she hasn't spoken to me at all. Wild Karen seemed increasingly annoyed. Well, I've been standing over there forever, and you haven't offered to help me. My bad? I can try. I don't work in this department, so it depends if... Wild Karen suddenly got actively hostile. Try? No, you will. It doesn't matter if you work in this department or not. I was taking calming briefs, so I don't lash back, wondering what this woman's problem is. Okay, what do you need? I was definitely unable to control the annoyance in my tone as this woman is yelling at me. This! I am not joking when I say that she proceeds to suddenly pull out a screw and nearly stab me in the eye, shoving it toward me. I push her hand away, feeling much less calm as I have a PTSD reaction to people putting hands in my face, much less a freaking screw. So now I am visibly shaking. Okay, ma'am, screws are at the end of this aisle, on the left. What? I already know that. Okay, what size is that? What size do you need? Well, Karen got angrier for some reason. You tell me. She takes a step closer, as if trying to seem threatening. Angry me was unable to hold back. I have no clue, ma'am. There's an entire wall of screws. It's impossible for me to tell its size by just looking at it. You will not come at me like that. She says me like she's royal, and I should feel afraid. Your manager would not like that. At this point, I really didn't care any longer. You think? Well, I can get a manager if you'd like. Maybe one of them can identify the screw by its side. Don't make me mad today. Just do your job. It was at this moment that I realized that I had already told her exactly where the product she needed would be located. Yes, ma'am. So I walked away from her to my trolley and proceeded to continue looking for the items on my order. What are you doing? My job. The funny thing is, an aisle over, one of our assistant managers actually was nearby. With Karen ranting and stomping like a toddler, I walked over when I noticed him and told him I had two issues. 1. I can't find the item. 2. I got a Karen he may want to talk to. He laughed and showed me where the correct size sheet metal improperly was, and totally ignored her, same as I was, until she huffed loudly and stormed away. I don't think she liked that my manager did like how I handled the situation. The next story is called Nothing Wrong. I live in an 80s style duplex building made of concrete cinder block bricks and moved in here in mid-2016. My neighbor has a mirror of my apartment. They are both 2 levels with a gallery staircase in the middle. I love it. But my neighbor? Oh my god. We actually used to get along alright, and that was mostly because I like to keep the peace. But he loves having every door and window of his home open, and I live in a part of the world that is hot and humid for about 3/4 of the year. We also live right by a busy road. This wouldn't be that much of an issue, but his music and movies have to compete with the outside noises as well as the noise from his fans. He refuses to use his air conditioner. The result, even at low levels, is a booming bass in some of my rooms due to the resonance. It drives me crazy, and this could happen at any time of the day or night. I was losing sleep in my mind and my wits' end. We finally well and truly fell out about a year ago. I had tried asking, begging, pleading, passive aggression. Every avenue had been exhausted by this point. I convinced him to come over to my house to just listen so he can hear for himself what I'm talking about. I thought surely he would realize that he needs to stop, or at least seriously adjust his sound settings. He said there was absolutely nothing wrong. So I decided to change tack and increase the levels of my own system, much better than his, to roughly where his was, and we went there and again. He said there was nothing wrong and that he wasn't going to change anything. I was told that my sound wasn't able to be heard at their place and that I could leave the levels as they were and would just have to live with whatever sound came out of their home. Cut to a few months ago. I noticed he had some old baby stuff on his patio that looked like it was bought from a garage sale 30 years ago. Then, in the following months, I see his girlfriend with a definite baby bump. By now, I bet you can see where this is going, and so could I by that point, assuming things weren't going to change, and I knew they wouldn't. This past month, my neighbor and his girlfriend have welcomed an adorable little screaming baby, which I can't hear from my place at all, thankfully. But apparently, they absolutely can hear sound coming from my place and told me as much when they knocked this week, and I greeted them with a big smile and congratulations. They told me they are getting no sleep at all, and they were at their wits' end. They asked, begged, and pleaded with me to turn my sound system down, and I reminded my neighbor that my sound wasn't able to be heard from their house. And even if they could hear my sound, they can just live with it. I might reduce the settings slightly, once I know for sure that a lesson has been learned. The last story is called Screw This HOA. Back in high school, I was all about my car. Don't get me wrong, it was a rolling POS, but it was my car. It had a trade-in value of maybe $5, but it was my car. I was learning how to take care of it, by which I mean I found where the dipstick was and how to pull it. I hadn't yet moved on to tire inflation, one step at a time. One day, after school, I drove over to my friend's place. We jumped out, popped the hood, pulled the dipstick, and checked the oil, and it was fine, so put the hood back down. I had no idea what an HOA was, nor what it meant. I was just a happy ignorant teenager, eager to demonstrate how responsible I was with my wheels. A few days go by, and we are hanging out at my friend's place when his mom comes over. He starts giving us the business in that I'm annoyed but trying not to be voice about a warning she received from the HOA regarding repairing cars in your driveway, complete with a photo of my POS with the hood up. Really, she was being pretty good, though clearly annoyed. We explained that we weren't repairing anything, that I was just checking the oil levels and didn't even need any tools. The picture just had the hood up. She softened quite a bit, and the focus of her annoyance shifted from us to the HOA, since it's entirely reasonable for anyone to check the level of oil in a car. She finds a copy of the HOA rules and we all read them together. Sure enough, there's a bylaw that says you can't repair a car in the driveway. I protest that I wasn't repairing anything, I was just checking the oil. Reading the exact rules on exactly what was forbidden sparked an idea. I look at my friend, raise an eyebrow and say, "Fight the power? Fight the power." I propose my plan to his mom and ask for permission since she's going to have to deal with the fallout. She's on board since she thinks this is supremely stupid, and we set it into motion. Every day after school, my friend and I drove our POS machines to his place, parked in their driveway, raised the hoods and just looked at the engines. No tools, we weren't even near them. We didn't check the oil, we didn't so much as touch them nor wipe them down with a rag. All we did was expose them to the birds, the sky, and got above to just let them breathe. After a while I got bored, so I started setting up an easel and drawing my engine 10 minutes at a time. My friend had to one-up me, so decided he needed some tasteful artistic photos with his engine. He judged the best photos would be him laying over the engine shirtless, stroking and fake kissing it. Just absurd over-the-top moronic high schooler stuff. Predictably, the HOA was on us. The warnings quickly turned into fines, complete with pictures of both vehicles with their hoods up. Then more pictures of mine with its hood up and an easel in front. Then even more pictures with my friend's with its hood up. Him laying in the engine compartment and me taking pictures of him with a camera. Soon enough, his mom let us know it was time for the monthly HOA meeting. Of course, all three of us had to go in person to protest the fines. So the motley pair of us show up along with his mom and his mom's stack of fine notices. I bring along my engine drawing and reprinted some of my friend's engine photos larger than normal. After a while, it was new business time and my friend's mom steps up. I'm pretty sure they expected her to play the "My son and his friend are idiots. please make these fines go away since I didn't know what they were doing. Sympathy card. Nope, not a chance. She politely but firmly attested that she was being sent fines for something that wasn't in the bylaws and asked the board to stop. One of the board members spoke up, saying that working on cars was against the bylaws, and clearly that was going on since both hoods were up. Oh, you should have seen their faces when she corrected them that the bylaws said no repairs were allowed. That there were no repairs going on in any of the pictures, since no tools were visible, and that we were just doing art projects for school. Even longer faces were seen when she showed the, truthfully completely terrible drawing of my engine, along with the date stamped a couple weeks ago pictures. The HOA president called for a 5-minute recess, during which the board huddled in a corner of the room. After the recess, the president said, "Ma'am, we are going to dismiss all your fines. Have a nice evening." We nearly danced out of that meeting. Being the obnoxious idiots that my friend and I were, we had to do the drawing/photo routine a few more times just to make sure they weren't going to start sending more fines. They wisely didn't, and being victorious, we soon found other ways to annoy them. And with that, we end today's video. Let me know what you think about the stories. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the stories and today's video? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what I do and want to support me, please subscribe and hit the like button. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.